Captain Malcolm Reynolds of the Firefly class spaceship Serenity. Love this guy. He's brave, willing to face down legions of Reavers and the entire Alliance. He's crafty enough to hatch a plan that the Alliance and their top assassin don't see coming. The list goes on. The list goes way on. But the most important thing about Mal is that there ain't nothing in the verse that he won't do for his crew.
What can I say about Steve Zissou that wasn't already covered in his documentary Jungle Cats? Well, his crew stands behind him. Not just a buddy, but a whole group of people. Even his ex-wife continues to support his ventures long after their separation. He's even looked upon as a father figure by not one, but two people in his life.
The results are in. You guys voted, and after round one, we have our first round of semifinalists here. We have Clint, I believe that's pronounced, and he is representing Captain Mal. Of course, we have Truly representing Steve Zissou. I consulted with the coin. We had a very long correspondence.
Over Snapchat?
And yes, I finally joined. Just kidding, I'm not on social media. In any event, I've been corresponding with the coin, and he let me know that Truly is up first. All right. You have 2 minutes for your opening argument. Begin.
Captain Steve Zissou. Sure, I could start my argument saying Steve Zissou is just another classic Bill Murray character to go along with all his other great characters from Ghostbusters, Stripes, Caddyshack. I could go on, Scrooge. But it's kind of like, come on already, guy. Stop being so iconic. While outside of Serenity, Nathan Fillion's only significant contribution to watchable media is remaking Murder, She Wrote, but naming it after a defensive fortification. Look, we all loved Firefly, and not enough of us saw Serenity to get a sequel, so it's time to let it go. It's sad, but it's true. Captain Mal, like his show, was but a small bud, never allowed to blossom into a full captain. And that's why Steve Zissou is a better captain. Look, Steve Zissou has a rich, long history being a captain. His personal life goal? To share the exquisite wonders of the ocean with the public. A goal far more noble than simple greed or self-preservation. Mal isn't even fighting for anything anymore, and when he does, it's only because he's directly forced to by the operative. And look, Steve Zissou may be a bit reckless, but that's nothing compared to the string of deaths across the verse from simply knowing Captain Mal. Mr. Universe? Shepherd Book? Wash? Oh, did you know Mal translates to bad? Literally, his name means bad captain. And with the swath of death that follows in his wake, it's no wonder Mal's involvement and stubbornness in getting the signal out directly killed a fan favorite. And that's inexcusable. Bad captain. Good rebel, bad captain. You know who died because of Steve Zissou? No one, because shark attacks are a force of nature. Zissou is a captain at the end of his life looking at his legacy. The best captains aren't always the best men, because the best captains inspire those around them to be better. He inspires the Bond Company stooge to step outside of his job description. He inspires Klaus as a father figure. He inspires Ned, who is an analog for all the children he's inspired in the Zissou Society. That one gets away from you. In short, Steve Zissou.
All right, so Clint, in summary, Bill Murray is better than Nathan Fillion.
Irrelevant.
Also, pictures in Spanish. So you have 2 minutes. Why is Captain Mal the superior captain? Begin.
Just a quick recap on why Captain Mal is a superior captain. Let's look at the final showdown he has with Chiwetel Ejiofor's operative. It's basically a highlight reel of why Mal is a great captain. Look, he's there in the first place, doing the right thing, trying to get the word out that the Alliance created the Reavers, fighting the good fight. He's a smartass the whole time. He's taking a beating. He's tough enough to make it a good fight with the operative, and ultimately it's his cleverness that wins it for him. Then he doesn't kill the operative. He lets the guy watch the recording from Miranda. He knows that's the only way to defeat the operative because he's smart enough to realize that, and that's how he's going to earn some peace for his Garam crew. But the really telling thing about Mal is when he tells the operative that he's doing this because people gotta know. And then when the operative asks him if he's willing to die for that belief, Mal says yes. And watching that scene, there is no debating that he wholeheartedly believes it. Ain't exactly plan A, but he wholeheartedly believes that this selfless thing he's doing is worth dying for simply because it's right. Steve Zissou, on the other hand, when his wife asks him what he sees in Ned, a man who's possibly Steve's son, Steve says, I believe in him because he looks up to me. And that's Steve in a nutshell. The thing he values most in other people is how much they idolize him. It's actually the point of his whole journey in the movie. He has to come to terms with the fact that he's old, probably useless, and constantly letting people down. That's the legacy that he's looking back on in The Life Aquatic. Everything in the movie is a lesson that teaches that to Steve, everything including Ned's death. It makes him an incredibly interesting person to watch and a great character, but it makes him a bad captain. He literally realizes his own inconsequence at the end of the movie. When they finally find the jaguar shark, he says, crying, "I wonder if he remembers me." He knows that the shark doesn't remember him. The shark had an enormous impact on Steve's life, but Steve meant nothing to the shark, and he realizes that, and it's a beautiful moment. One of the best in the movies. But it underscores the fact that the whole movie is about a guy who's a bad captain.
All right, you will have 1 minute for rebuttal. Just to recap, people gotta know. 1 minute, Troy.
Look, Captain Mal is how fat assholes who can't let go of history and still fly the Confederate flag think they look and act. A tough but handsome rebel who lost the war but still stands up to the big bad alliance. When in actuality, he's a selfish outlaw motivated only by greed, taking advantage of a police force that's spread too thin and only doing what they're told. And this takes place in a future doomsday preppers are positive it's coming because everyone has to know Chinese and still be able to know how to ride horses. Meanwhile, the government is killing its own people in a plot stolen directly from 9/11 truthers. In short, Captain Mal and the world he inhabits is all very Mal, and by that I mean bad. He'd rather take money soaked in blood than dare to earn a clean living in Alliance space because his freedom is more important than other people?
All right.
You brought the Confederate flag into this? Okay. Yeah. Look, here's my biggest problem. You talk about Mal's intentions, and that's my biggest problem with Zissou. All right? As a member of his crew, you'd never have any idea that he's got anything but really selfish motives. The whole mission that he's going on is just based on personal revenge. The mission that Mal goes on in Serenity is brought to him. It's not a fight that he started. Every decision that Zissou makes is for the movie, right? Regardless of how it affects his crew, either emotionally or physically. Even when the pirates attack the Belafonte and the whole crew might get murdered, one of the first things he asks is if they're still rolling. After Ned drowns when he's learning how to swim, the first thing he asks are, how you shooting this? Everything's about the movie. Everything is this selfish, like trying to salvage his own legacy. Like you said in your opening argument. That's all it's about for him. That's it. That's fine. Let's just start yelling at each other.
All right.
I mean, Mal's whole mission in Serenity is revenge. Like, he's not even thinking about the consequences of getting the truth out about a minor atrocity that the government has caused. Name a government that hasn't caused a minor atrocity. You know what's going to happen when the Alliance falls? People like Niska and Badger are going to take over, and everything is going to be 1,000 times worse.
The idea that Mal is just out for revenge because as a brown coat he lost the war is ridiculous. Yeah, that flavors his character, absolutely. He was a guy, he fought for the losing side in a war, and that informs his character, sure. But what the mission is about, it's the TAMs. It becomes all about the TAMs. When it comes down to it, he actually supports them. That's not a fight that he started.
He supports them only because it furthers his goal
the alliance
of destroying
is
the
evil.
Alliance, because the war is not done for Captain Mal.
You're completely dismissing the fact that the alliance is shitty.
We only know that because Mal and Zoe say it is, and 2 minor examples, whereas we have numerous examples of Captain Mal and his band of psychotics, renegades, gun-happy, toting war machines.
We know that the Alliance is evil more than just that, because we see the weird experiments that they're doing on River Tam. We see that the operative the operative is their man, and the links that he goes through, the carte blanche that he's given to recover River Tam, he's like killing everybody with swords.
America has made at least 2 mistakes. Are you saying we should destroy America, Clint Gage?
Give me a break. Give me a break. No. And that's all I'm going to
So then Captain Mal's mission of revenge is unjustified?
It's not a mission. See, that's where you're wrong to begin with. It's not a mission of revenge at all.
It is. It's at all costs. He puts his crew in danger. He puts his very life on the line to stick it to the Alliance.
Not to stick it to the Alliance,
Absolutely,
to bring
stick it
down
to the
a
Alliance.
massive injustice
Meanwhile,
that's being
everyone
perpetrated.
who's ever touched anything to do with Captain Mal dies in the process.
Okay, you want to talk about? Let's talk about blood that's on hands. How many people? Look, first of all, the fight in which Shepherd Book and Mr. Universe die in, not a fight that Steve started. Not Steve.
Yeah,
Mal.
I absolutely
Correct.
agree with that.
Neither Steve Zissou nor Malcolm Reynolds started the fight
That's
in
fine.
which Shepherd Book
But
and Mr.
they
Universe
die
died.
because of it.
They don't die, but why is that Mal's responsibility? Why are you putting that blood on his hands?
I'm just saying it's there
It's
on
not.
his hands. He didn't
If,
dip
okay,
his
look,
hands in it.
if it's not Malcolm's fight that he started, if you want to get technical, technically, I would say Simon Tam started the fight more so than
Which he continues to harbor?
Yeah,
he
because he's
harbors
part of his
a known
crew.
fugitive who's going to get all these people
You
killed?
keep.
What
Okay,
is
here's
wrong
the thing.
with you, Captain
Let me
Mal?
ask you this: if you want to ask me if I'm bad-mouthing American, let me ask you this: are you pro-Nazi Germany? Because you
Well,
seem
look.
like it. Because the
They did some things wrong, but there were a lot of things that they got the country
listen,
focused.
we'll skip over all
On
of
the
that
wrong
entirely and
things.
get back on point here. Again, about who started the fight. You could blame Simon Tam before you could blame Malcolm about who started this fight. But really, it's because the Alliance is super shady and super evil, and they've given the operative carte blanche to go and recover
Super
River
evil.
Tam.
It's clear that this is a very top secret level experiment on both of them. How many senators in this
But look-
democracy are even aware that this is going on?
Here's the other democracy. Here's the other thing. And honestly, you would be bashing Mal even worse if he had just given up the Tams. If the operative shows up and says, "Hey, give us the Tams back," and he said, "Okay,
In exchange
okay, sir."
for Wash's life, I would absolutely take that deal.
Look, okay, yes, Wash died. Yes, super sad. To
Oh,
me,
yeah.
personally, I can't even talk about the movie with my wife because it hurt her so bad. At least Mal's crew is an actual crew, right? Let's look at the two crews here. Mal has surrounded himself with a pilot who's great. Zoe is a soldier. Jane is a mercenary who can handle himself. Kaylee's a good mechanic. The Tams, he's got a doctor, and Ninya Stowaway, who's very useful because she's a psychic, and she proves that in the beginning of Serenity. That is
also
an
a
actual crew.
liability.
That is an actual crew that actually knows how to do their job, that actually knows the risks that they are taking. Whereas Zissou's crew, one of them used to be a high school substitute teacher. Like most of them are, there's a DP, there's a bunch of unpaid interns, and he straps them all up with Glocks and runs them at a bunch of pirates? Like, how irresponsible is
They
that?
took that.
That is
he
a crew.
gave everybody a line that said, "If you want to follow me."
Yes, he did. And more people did. Wait, hey, he did it backwards. But more people didn't cross the line. He lost like 9 unpaid interns there. Only one of the
what?
interns stayed behind. The rest of them took
They're
off,
interns. I
and
bet they haven't
rightfully
even
so.
taken gun courses.
Exactly.
They would probably be liabilities.
And they all have one Glock to share.
And you
but
know
the
what?
point is,
he didn't fail any of them.
yeah, he gave him an incomplete, which was a dick. That's a bigger dick move than actually failing them, honestly. But they both give they both have that same moment. Zissou and Mal both have that same moment where they're like, here's the plan, here's what we're gonna do, who's with me? Every single one of Mal's crew is with him. And they, having the experience of being an actual crew who's trained to do the things they're supposed to do, are on board and they know the risks. Steve's crew, meanwhile, he loses most of them. And the ones that he keeps, they don't know shit. One of them was a former high school substitute teacher,
A lot
for
of
God's
Steve's.
sakes.
Well,
Here's a
first of all,
Glock, let's
Steve
go attack
commands
pirates.
a much larger crew than Mal. So first of all, there's going to be some losses. There's going to be some triage. You're going to lose people to people not wanting to come along on a mission like that.
Here's another. Let's go back to the blood on the hands thing, because here's another note that I had that I liked. Ned dies. That's a direct result of Steve.
Look,
it really is.
that's a
and you want
helicopter
to talk
accident.
about helicopter
You could
accidents?
write that off for insurance any day of the week.
But But I would also argue that on the island, the Pirates Island, which I believe are called the Peen Isles, which is really funny.
I just
by the way.
realized
Yeah,
that.
no, it's a really funny line. I like the movie. But Alistair Hennessy's whole crew, they're dead. Like, some of the pirates ate them. Like, that's a
It's
disgusting.
not Steve's fault.
It is.
Oh,
they were only out there in those uncontrolled waters because Hennessy was wanting to find those ruthless who stole all his from the Sea Lab. He was only out there looking for those people,
I
and
believe
the
it was
pirates got
crooked
him. Whatever, crooked.
Let's just be clear on the lingo.
I apologize. He's after those crooked who stole all the from his sea
But
lab, which was actually Steve.
It's clear that Hennessy
Steve
doesn't
was
even
the crooked-
care about his crew.
Steve was the crooked and because he stole from Hennessy and Hennessy was out there, that's the only reason they were out there to begin with. That's how they got killed. I would argue that blood is on Steve's hands.
I disagree.
All right, I think that's enough freeform. You guys, there's gonna be 2 comments below this video as always, both from Cinefix. It'll say upvote this comment if Captain Mal wins, and there'll be another one that says upvote this comment if Steve Zissou wins. Whichever one you believe should have won, click the thumbs up on that comment, and that's how you vote. And that will decide who proceeds to the finals of Captain Wars. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Cinefix and check out the other video in which Captain Picard and Han Solo are facing off. According to my notes, it's gonna be dandy.
Well, if it's on your notes.
Yeah, then it's gotta be
Means it's
real.
gonna
Right?
Look, the notes are true.